everyone, and welcome back to another live stream. Yeah, I moved last week's live stream to this week instead because I had lots of stuff to do last week with work and other things. Yeah, but I'm back today, and today we will be talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Hopefully, yeah. So, as you can see, I have my Erin from the remake from 2003. Yeah, when she's running, and the meat's hanging here, and all the meat hooks, and yeah, great scene, great figure. And then we have my beloved Leatherface here. Yeah, but hopefully you're all doing well today. Yeah, I'm doing well as well, even though I've been working, a lot as usual. 14-hour shift today. But yeah, so anything you want to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, we can spoil every Texas Chainsaw Massacre except the new one. Yeah, let's be kind to the people who just haven't had time or want to watch it yet. Yeah. Okay, I see some people joined. Happy to have you here. Hope you're doing good. And please let me know which Texas Chainsaw Massacre is your favorite and why. And also, which Texas Chainsaw Massacre did you watch first? Because not everyone has watched this in order, probably. And I will also go through some movie trivia about each movie, like I did with the Scream movies. I think that will be fun. Yeah. So James, hi. Well, hi James. Happy to have you here. Nathan, hey Sarah, I can stay along, but I just want to say I can wait for the film festival. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for popping by. Thank you. And yeah, I'm also excited about the film festival. For anyone that doesn't know yet, I will be hosting my own horror movie film festival, and I am accepting submissions right now via Film Freeway for short films and feature films. And between the 28th of October to the 30th of October, I will be uploading every entry that is accepted on my YouTube channel. So you can all watch it. It will be like an online film festival for you to watch. And then after 3 days, I will take them down. And then on Halloween, I will upload a award ceremony video because every entry that is accepted is going to be competing in one category or more. Yes, we have like best film, best director, best gore, best kill, fun categories like that. And I will be uploading the award ceremony video on my YouTube channel during Halloween. So that will be fun. So I'm really excited about my horror movie festival. It's called Sarah Horror Festival, and I am preparing some promo shoots and fun stuff for the festival right now. So yeah, I'm in the process of that. So and process of marketing everything, and yeah, reaching out to filmmakers and stuff. So it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I am enjoying it a lot. So thank you for anyone sharing and spreading and taking an interest in it. So thank you so much for all the support so far. Alex, the original, dang. Well, thank you. Or an Apex, sorry, I'm tired. Thank you. Nathan, also the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite, just to feel the atmosphere is incredible. Yeah, I agree with you. The atmosphere is incredible. I mean, the cinematography is really one of the things that really stands out. The warm Texas sun and just the atmosphere. I mean, you can feel how warm it is. You can truly just feel by watching the movie how warm it is. Even if you watch it here in Sweden during winter with minus 20 Celsius, you can still feel how warm it was filming there. But then also we have Leatherface and that meat hook scene, my favorite scene in the entire original movie, when he hangs up Pam's character on the meat hook. It was done so awesomely. I mean, you don't really see any, not really much. You see just him hanging her on the meat hook, but you don't see the meat hook go in. You don't see any blood come out. And then there's the beautiful shot when we go, we tilt up from the floor up towards her, and you see her hanging like a, yeah, yeah, she has a lot of air between her and the ground, and we just see her hanging there, and it's that tilt shot up is amazing. It's one of the best shots, definitely. Apex, would you mind reviewing Mother's Day from Trauma Team Review? Well, yeah. As soon as I get it in my collection, I will definitely review Mother's Day. I would be happy to. Yeah, but I have to have it in my collection, and I have to fit, find the right month and theme for it. Yeah. But yeah, let's see some interesting stuff about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Okay, I'm just going to IMDb here. Trivia. There we have it. Okay, so according to don't narrate. According to John Larroquette, his payment for doing the opening narration was a marijuana joint. Okay. Marilyn Burns, she played Sally, whose character was chased by Leatherface through the undergrowth, actually cut herself on the benches quite badly. So a lot of the blood on her body and clothes is real. Yeah, I heard this one before. I think I read it somewhere when I was younger. And I also quite recently watched a documentary about the making of the first one. And they also kind of commented on this one, and also about how warm and sticky and gross it was to film this movie. And yeah, I believe them. I think Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface, he wasn't allowed to shower, or I mean he wasn't allowed to wash his outfit because they were afraid that they would lose it or it would tear or something, and they only had one outfit for him. So his clothes were smelly. He was smelly during the entire shoot. Yeah, they mentioned this in the documentary, and I can only imagine how bad that must have been. And it was so warm also. But yeah, Marilyn Burns, a lot of the blood on her body was real, and I also think they cut her finger for real during that dinner scene. I think the tube that they had and the knife, it wouldn't work like they wanted to, so they just cut it for real. So that is a real reaction we have. Apex, thank you. Johnny K, hello. Well, hi Johnny, happy to have you here. Apex, understandable. Okay, some more trivia. The soundtrack contains no sounds from musical instruments. Oh, I didn't even think about that. With the exception of some copyrighted music they had the rights to. Instead, they used sounds an animal would hear inside a slaughterhouse. Okay. I never even thought about that. That is pretty horrifying, actually, they used to use sounds that animals would hear inside a slaughterhouse. I mean, because that's the last thing they hear. So that is pretty creepy when you think about it. Yeah. Huh. Great choice of I wouldn't say music, but sounds. Yeah, fits right in. Sparkling water, so good, with a touch of mango. Yeah. Okay. So, there were lines of gibberish written in the script for Leatherface. Okay, Tobe Hooper would sit with Gunnar Hansen and tell him what the lines meant, and the actor had to figure out a way to say that without actually speaking. In the scene where the old man comes home and starts yelling at Leatherface about the door, Hanson remembers a take where he communicated a little too verbally. Hooper told him there was too much intelligence in the character, and the shot was redone. My one chance to have a line, says Hanson. He tried to be sneaky. He couldn't, you know. Too much intelligence. And Johnny K, yeah, the sounds are so creepy. Chris, hello, Sarah. Well, hi, Chris. Happy to have you here. Yeah, when you think about sounds, I think about especially those scenes when he hits his victims with a hammer. Because those sounds are pretty, they're very sharp, but they sound really good and very haunting. But now I understand why. Yeah, I've always like been taken by those sounds because everything else was so quiet, but you could hear that so crystal clear, and I don't know, they sounded kind of different. But now, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Even in his lift boots, Gunnar Hansen could run faster than Marilyn Burns, so he had to do random things when chasing her through the woods. You'll notice in one head-on shot that he starts slicing up tree branches in the background. Oh, okay, I never even thought about that. Wow, he must have been really super fast. I mean, he was also running with a chainsaw and stuff. Okay, wow. Good for him. Good cardio. Good cardio. Surprisingly, this film is one of the least bloody horror films of all time. This is because Tobe Hooper intended to make the movie for a PG rating. By keeping violence moderate, language mild, and having most of the horror implied off-screen rather than shown in great detail on-screen. However, this plan had actually backfired and made the film even more horrifying, because despite cutting and repeated submissions, the rating board insisted on an X rating. And it wasn't until the film received the R rating when Hooper gave up and released it. Hooper had a similar ratings problem with the sequel. Yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier with the meat hook scene, because you don't really see anything. But the things you do see, they're composed, and they work together so well. So I guess in your mind, whatever it is more gruesome. But I mean, yeah, this isn't a bloody film at all. And the violence, as I said, you don't really see a lot. When Franklin gets, cut up with a chainsaw, you don't see anything basically. They film him from behind. You see Leatherface go up and down with a chainsaw, but you don't see Franklin from the front. You just see some blood splatter on Leatherface. Not like a lot, but just some. And you don't see anything on Franklin because they are shot from behind, as I said. So yeah, they must have been really picky. That must have been so annoying. You basically don't show a lot, and there isn't a lot of blood, but you still get the X rating, and no matter how much you cut it. And then you still receive an X rating, and then an R rating, and not a PG rating. It must have been really super annoying, because the movie must have been cut to shreds. Johnny K. Yeah, I think the amateurishness of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is what makes it so unique. Like, the sounds are very raw because of that. The implication of violence is almost worse than the depiction. Yeah, I agree in this one. In this one, it really, really works. Just because the atmosphere and the creepiness of the background and all the props, and as you said, the lack of a real soundtrack, just the sounds and the cinematography, everything just makes the lack of violence or the implication of violence just so much, it has such an impact. Yeah. And in some movies that doesn't have that kind of raw feeling or these unique qualities, and then if they don't have um, any depiction of violence or stuff like that, it might not work as well. Yeah, so it all depends on how you make it work. Okay. Director Tobe Hooper claims to have gotten the idea for the film while standing in a hardware section of a crowded store while Christmas shopping. Oh yeah, I've heard this one before. While thinking of a way to get out through the crowd, he spotted the chainsaws. Yeah, that would have been, a pretty good way to get out of there. Just. And yeah, that is not how a chainsaw sounds. I don't know why. Maybe a baby chainsaw, a tiny one. Like if he had a tiny chainsaw, that would be like. But he has a hammer. I've seen these ones, but with a chainsaw and him being bloody. I want that one as well. Okay. After getting into the old age makeup, John Dugan decided that he did not ever want to go through the process again, meaning that all the scenes with him had to be filmed in the same session before he could take the makeup off. Woof. This entire process took about 36 hours, 5 of which took to put the makeup on during a brutal summer heat wave where the average temperature was over 100 degrees. The large portion of it spent filming the dinner scene with him wearing a heavy suit and necktie, sitting in a room filled with dead animals and rotting food with no air conditioning or electric fans. I mean, it sounds like a nightmare. But I mean, it's effective, it works in the movie. Everyone later recalled that the stench from the rotting food and people's body odor was so terrible that some crew members passed out or became sick from the smell. Yeah, I mean, I can almost smell that whenever I see the movie through my television. Edwin Neal, who played the hitchhiker, claimed filming that scene was the worst time of my life, and I had been in Vietnam with people trying to kill me, so I guess that shows how bad it was. Wow, that's bad. Linus. And poor Franklin, he cannot run from Leatherface. Yeah, he could not. I mean, he was pretty much doomed from the start because no one has the strength to like push his wheelchair. Like, yeah, poor Franklin. Even though he was super annoying, I still kind of felt bad for him because I knew he was doomed. Yeah, and he kind of knew himself once they were like stranded there. Linus, hey Sarah. Oh, hi Linus, happy to have you here. Johnny K, yes. TCM almost has smell-o-vision. Yeah. Okay, let's maybe move on to some trivia for the second one. Yeah, we don't want to be stuck in the first one forever. But all of my reviews of Texas Chainsaw Massacre are all up on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen them yet, please check them out. Okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out in 1986, so 12 years later. Okay, so a radio host is victimized by a cannibal family as a former Texas Marshal hunts them down. I mean, I love this poster of them when they are doing a parody mocking of the Breakfast Club poster. It's genius, it's hilarious. And I mean, this movie had more of a dark comedy feel to it, and I think it really worked. That it wasn't as serious as the first one, and Leatherface kind of shined more in this one. I mean, he did definitely stand out in the first one, but in this one he kind of showed more personality, so to speak, like more layers to him, and I laughed a lot. And of course the gore was there. Lots of blood, lots of gore. But it's a sequel. These are the rules. So I'm glad they followed them. And also, Carolyn Williams was an amazing final girl. Yeah, she was great. Okay, let's see some trivia then. the first thing, here it is. The family group shot, as seen in the advertisements, posters, and video covers, uses the same positioning as the promotional group shot for the movie Breakfast Club. Yeah, the first thing I said, and they have it here. Okay. The corpse that Chop Top and Leatherface carry around with them, also appearing on the original cover art, is that of the hitchhiker from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. Okay. Oh. Johnny K. Yeah, also Dennis Hopper had a funny character. Yes, I agree. A lot of fun characters in this one. I mean, also Bill Moseley, Chop Top, yeah. Corey. Hi, Sarah. Well, hi, Corey. Happy to have you here. Okay. Director Tobe Hooper and co-writer of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Kim Henkel, originally had an idea for a sequel that would feature an entire town of cannibals and also be a satire of the film Motel Hell. Oh, Motel Hell is great. Which itself was a satire of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So a satire of a satire. The title of the sequel was to be Beyond the Valley of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wow, that would have been a long title. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is already a long title. But the studio forced considerable changes to be made to the screenplay, even hiring a new screenwriter, and the result of those changes are what became Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Well, I mean, I would have loved to see the original idea, like a satire of a satire, but it's kind of understandable also that, you know, they chose to go this way instead. Yeah. Okay, Bill Moseley has said that his role as Chop Top is his favorite of his own. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine when you watch the movie, it feels like he has a great time playing that character. So I can imagine it is one of his favorites. Dennis Hopper thought this was the worst movie he'd ever been in. He later said the same thing about Super Mario Bros. What? Come on. If Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is the worst movie you've ever acted in, then, you know, then you've basically done just amazing movies. Yeah. Corey, I love Bill Moseley's as Chop Top. Yeah, it was fun. Carolyn Williams wanted to make a strong impression at her audition. When she was called in, she went to the end of the hallway and ran screaming into the room, where she pulled Tobe Hooper and Ellen Kit Carson out of their seats and used the chairs to barricade the door before she began her scene. Wow, that is actually amazing, and I bet she made a strong impression by using that technique. I mean, that was pretty genius of her, and I mean, she got the part, so obviously it worked. Yeah. Smart thinking there. Yeah. Maybe I will also think of that for my next audition, if it's a horror film. Yeah. Just have some juice. Tom Savini once stated that the makeup effects that he created for Grandpa is his most proud accomplishment, which he compares to the makeup for the aged Dustin Hoffman in Little Big Man. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty amazing. I mean, old age makeup is always difficult. It seems pretty difficult. So I'm also very impressed by that. Johnny K. Chop Top was pretty gross, eating the skin from his scalp with a coat hanger. Yeah, that was pretty gross. But a fun detail. Bill Moseley created a short film parody entitled The Texas Chainsaw Manicure. Okay. Where he played a small role as the hitchhiker, and showed it to a screenwriter who was able to show it to Tobe Hooper. Hooper loved it and kept Mosley in mind for a part should he ever make a sequel. When the time came to cast the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Mosley was contacted for a role at Chop Talk, the hitchhiker's twin brother. Yeah, I mean that's also a really good way to like get the attention of some filmmakers you want to work with. So yeah, okay. Also keeping that in mind. Corey, what are your thoughts on them remaking The Exorcist? Yeah, I don't know. Like, another remake for another basically perfect movie? The original is so good. I haven't seen the TV show yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. But I mean, I don't really feel it's necessary. They're just, but people are remaking everything these days, so I mean, it's not a surprise. But I don't know. It gets a bit like again another remake, you know. Oh, but we'll see. We'll see. I haven't seen the movie yet, so you know, I will of course watch it when it comes out. Okay, Lefty finds the skeleton of Franklin sitting in his wheelchair from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Lefty is Franklin and Sally's uncle. Oh, I don't even remember that. Oh, and I saw this one just before I reviewed the second one on my channel, but I don't even remember that. I have to rewatch that part. A lengthy scene in which the Sawyer family goes out hunting for prime meat was cut for pacing, but is present on the gruesome edition DVD. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah. Johnny K, I agree. Exorcist is perfect for me. To me, yeah. Jim Zito Drayton is the only actor in this movie who was in the original movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Lou Perriman worked on the original film as a crew member, but did not act in it. Yeah, I mean, they really changed up the family in this one, but I think the family dynamic works really well in this one. So they did a really good job. Yeah. Okay. Several scenes were deleted by director Tobe Hooper due to pacing issues as mentioned on the 2000 Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Shocking Truth documentary. Oh, that was the documentary I saw, the one I mentioned. And I saw it on YouTube, so it is on YouTube. So you can just type in Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Shocking Truth documentary. One lengthy scene that was cut from the film involves the Sawyer clan heading out at night to collect prime meat for the chili by slaughtering movie patrons and a group of rowdy rioting fans. The deleted slaughtering scene featured several elaborate Tom Savini special effects. Oh, I would have loved to watch that. Another deleted scene also includes the American film critic Joe Bob Briggs. Wow. An alternative plotline involving Lefty and Right as Stretch's father was also scrapped. However, these scenes are present on the 2007 Gruesome Edition DVD special features section. Okay, I have to check that out. Have to get my hands on that. Okay, many fans of Texas Chainsaw Massacre disliked this movie due to its emphasis on gore and wacky humor. Tobe Hooper has argued that black humor was also present in the original film, but viewers did not acknowledge it because of its shocking content. Yeah, I mean, these two movies, to me, they feel very different in a good way. It's a huge contrast between them, but I think they work so well in their own way. But I can also understand people that dislike this because of the wacky humor and the gore, because the first one didn't really have a lot of gore, or as we talked about, a lot of blood. So maybe they just weren't prepared. You know, they were thinking, okay, the second one will be like in the same line, in the same style. And then they get something totally different. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this wasn't really what, I was expecting or hoping for. So, it's okay. It's okay. But I really like the second one. And the first and the second one is definitely my favorites. Yes. So, we can move on to the third one. I think it's also the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and it has an undertitle of Leatherface. Let's see. So, the third one. A California couple and a survivalist encounter Leatherface and his family. So this is, I think, I said the first two really good, and then we have the third one, which just isn't up to par with the first and the second one. Here, it goes kind of downhill a bit. I mean, it isn't the most awful one, but it just isn't good enough to be up there with the first or the second one. But Kemper stars in this one, and he is definitely the best thing in this movie. Oh, I just have to put in the charger so the phone doesn't die. And my cat is here. JD, Abby. Okay, now we can continue, hopefully. Okay, so as I said, Ken Free stars in this one, but it is kind of weak, unfortunately. The family doesn't have that wacky or good dynamic as in the first or second one. The main character or characters aren't that interesting, unfortunately. Yeah, but it does have some, creative death scenes. Okay, so director Jeff Burr was fired at the beginning of production. When nobody else accepted the job, he was rehired. Wow. So no one else accepted to direct a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. What? Okay. The original script was much more brutal with explicit gore sequences. I want to see that. The producers objected to many of the scenes, one of which had a nude man being split down the middle while hung upside down. I mean, there are many movies who has that exact same scene. Now, I think that would be an awesome scene in this one. And demanded extensive changes to script to reduce gore and violence. Further cuts had to be made to avoid an X rating after the film was finished. I mean, without these cuts, without these ban on war and violence, imagine how many more creative death scenes and SFX and gore we could have seen. Yeah, we missed out on a lot. Peter, semi off topic, but I like Life Force by Tobe Hooper a lot. Yeah, I do too. I've only seen it once though, so I definitely have to rewatch it. It's been a few years, but I do have the Arrow edition, so I will watch it when I get the feeling. Okay. Carolyn Williams reprises her role as Stretch from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in a cameo as a news reporter. I think I remember that. Director Jeff Burr said he imagined Stretch becoming a reporter following the trauma she experienced in the second movie in an attempt to hunt down Leatherface. Tom Savini was offered the job of directing this film, but as we learn, he turned it down. Kane Hodder, whose best known role is that of another horror icon, Jason Voorhees, was the stunt coordinator for this movie. He was also R.A. Mikhailov's stunt double and played Leatherface in the trailer. Wow, so he not only played Jason, he also played Leatherface, but in the trailer. But I mean, wow, talk about playing horror icons. Yeah, that is good to have on your resume. Peter, it's so cute how you're almost obsessed with kills and death scenes. Yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with that I used to do a lot of SFX, gory wounds and stuff myself when I was younger. So, I want to see like the most creative ways that you can do that and have it look real or have it like look over the top and yeah. And I've always written like really gory and over the top death scenes in my horror scripts. That's probably why. Johnny K. Yeah, too many annoying producers and executives cutting out cool gore scenes back then. Yeah. I mean, imagine if we got like a documentary featuring every gore scene that has been cut ever. Like, imagine just that documentary and people talking about that. I would love to see that. Damn! Kane also played Freddy. He wore the glove in Jason Goes to Hell. Oh, okay, okay. Well, I mean, another great character to have in a resume. Peter, as I said, cute. Okay. Okay, so this one was submitted 11 times to the MPAA. On each submission, more and more footage was cut out, some of which was lost forever. That sucks. I mean, if you have to cut something out, then you at least want to have it somewhere. But to have it lost forever, that must have been super annoying and tough. There was also supposed to be a brutal unmasking scene, which would reveal Leatherface as horribly disfigured. That scene was scrapped, despite an obvious build-up during the opening credits, and saved because New Line wanted to use it in the next sequel, which never materialized. It was eventually used in the remake, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from 2003. The ranch where most of the filming was done is so close to the Six Flags Magic Mountain amusement park that director Jeff Burr swears you can hear screams from the roller coaster during some takes. Oh, wow, I never even thought about that. But now, if I ever rewatch the third one, I will definitely be, looking out for some screaming in the background. That sounds like people screaming at a roller coaster, not people screaming because Leatherface is chasing them. But maybe they could use those screams, in the movie to make them, sound good. Johnny K. I love that documentary. Yeah, me too. I should pitch that to someone, copyright that idea. Director Jeff Burr wanted to shoot the film in Texas using 60mm film, just like the original, but New Line rejected the idea because they had already built the house in California. Oh, okay. Okay, 3 chainsaws were used for the movie, each of which had a plastic dummy replica. Okay, so 3 chainsaws. The opening scene in which Leatherface creates his new flesh mask is a homage to A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Freddy's seen creating his razor blade glove in the opening scene of Nightmare on Elm Street, that's true. This is due to New Line Cinema making Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 after obtaining the rights to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre title and characters. Oh, okay. Makes sense. Leatherface is never referred to as Leatherface. He's always referred to by his family simply as Junior. Yeah, that is true, now that I think about it. Never heard them mention Leatherface in this one. Okay, the chainsaw in the movie weighed approximately 80 pounds. Wow, that is quite heavy. And to be running around with that extra, oh, yeah, you have to be in good shape, I guess. Tobe Hooper, director of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was originally going to be involved in the film. He had submitted a treatment to New Line executives, but bowed out of the project due to scheduling conflicts concerning his film. It says on, what was that, Firestarter, I think? Because here the titles are all in Swedish, because I'm in Sweden, so my computer picks up on that. But yeah, I think the movie's called Firestarter. In Sweden it's Eldmed. Okay, director Jeff Burr wanted Gunnar Hanson to return to the role of Leatherface, but neither party could come to an agreement of salary. Burr eventually settled on R.A. Mikhailov. Okay. The song that plays when Leatherface jumps in his pickup truck and bears down on his victims in the pond is Bored by San Francisco Thrasher's Death Angel. Okay. But yeah, this one, as I said, not as good as the first or the second one. But I think we can move on to part 4. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. There we have it. So in this one, we have a group of teenagers get into a car crash in the Texas woods on prom night, and then wander into an old farmhouse that is home to Leatherface and his insane family of cannibalistic psychopaths. And it's starring Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, so we have 2 A-listers here. But is this an A-list movie? No, certainly not. This is probably my least favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre of them all. And yeah, this one is quite bad. So, just gonna have some more juice. Okay, when asked about this movie, Renee Zellweger said it was dangerous. I don't know if any of it was legal. It was a great workout. Running from a guy with a live chainsaw is excellent motivation. It was a lot of fun. It was my first role, really. I couldn't believe that somebody was going to trust me with that somebody was going to take this chance on me. I was really grateful. I have no shame about that movie. I mean, she shouldn't have. Even though I don't personally like the film, I would be happy to act in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, even if it would be terrible. I would still be proud. Yeah. So I understand how she feels. Okay, despite the title, absolutely 0 people are massacred via a chainsaw. Okay, so, false marketing. So if you want to see some people that are massacred via chainsaw, this is not the movie for you, despite the title. Linus, I have Texas Chainsaw 3 on Swedish VHS rental, and yeah, I know I'm nagging about my VHS rentals, but I like to collect VHS. No, you should brag about them. You should talk about them. It's fun. You can talk about them as much as you want to. Yes, here, that kind of thing is appreciated. It's encouraged even. So please talk more about your VHS collection. Okay, Matthew McConaughey had just graduated college and planned on moving to California when he auditioned for this movie. Hmm. He read for the part of a young motorcyclist who rescues Jenny at the end and rides off with her into the sunset, a role that was eventually eliminated. Before he left, writer slash producer slash director Kim Henkel asked if he knew of anyone who might be right for the role of the villain, Velmer. McConaughey suggested two friends from acting class and left. He was about to get in his truck and drive to California when he stopped and realized, what was I thinking? He immediately turned around and asked Henkel, hey, can I audition for Wilmer? Henkel gave him a spoon from the kitchen, told him to pretend it's a knife, and tasked him with scaring his secretary. Then in the middle of the audition, he told him to pretend his mechanical leg was malfunctioning. McConaughey was so convincing that he won the role of Wilmer on the spot. Wow. That is amazing. Corey, I really enjoyed Leatherface 2017. I thought it was not awful and not good, but I gave it a 5 out of 10. There were definitely some things that I enjoyed during the third act, but I think it just didn't really feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to me. But as I said, it's not the worst. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 4 Next Generation is the worst for me, the one I'm talking about right now. But yeah, I did enjoy Leatherface just a bit more after rewatching it, so you know, that is a positive. The hospital scene at the end featured two actors and one actress from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. John Dugan, who played grandfather in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is the cop. Paul A. Parson, who played Franklin Hardesty in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is the orderly. And Marilyn Burns, who played Sally Hardesty, is the patient on the gurney. Yeah, I mean, those very small cameos was a really fun and good idea and detail. So there were just a few details that I liked in this film, but mostly it was kind of bad all over. And even though it's Renee Zellweger, I don't think her character was interesting or good enough to be like a final girl. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, we're done with the part 1 to 4, which is, I call them the first section of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So we're done with those. Now we're moving on to the kind of newer and more modern take on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. So we go to the remake with Jessica Biel, which we have here. I bought this a long time ago, such a long time ago at the sci-fi convention, I think, here in Stockholm. And I don't think it cost that much, but I was very happy to find this one. Yeah, it's a bit dusty though, but I think maybe, that works. But let's see. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So as I said, it's from 2003. Okay, after picking up a traumatized young hitchhiker, 5 friends find themselves stalked and hunted by a deformed chainsaw-wielding loon and his family of equally psychopathic killers. So in this one we have 5 friends, or 4 friends and 1 female hitchhiker they just picked up, but she seems to be getting along pretty well with one of the males. Yeah, but they are on their way to a concert and to smoke some really dope weed, I guess. And they encounter this traumatized young hitchhiker played by the Lauren German. She was also main character in Hostel 2. Yep. And they pick her up, and she's obviously traumatized by something. And then it ends up with her shooting herself, taking her own life. And they're like, what? and they are traumatized by that now. And then they contact the sheriff. Played so I would say beautifully, but I mean horribly. I mean he Arlie Ermy played that character so well because he was so mean and nasty. Yeah, and once he arrives, everything just yeah. They are basically fighting for their lives from the moment he gets there. They just don't know yet. But I have to say that this remake, I love this remake. I think it's an amazing remake. I even look at the original and this remake. It's kind of two separate movies, even though they are, about the same thing. But I just think that the execution is unique for both of them, and not in the same way. I I think Jessica Biel was really great in this one. She was really good, proactive, and just pushed her character really pushed every the story forward all the time. Never got boring. She was like, oh, this happened, then we go to this, then we go to this. Yeah, it was really good. And I used to watch this one all the time when I was younger. So let's see, some trivia for the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. After learning about the remake, Andrew Bruniarski, who played Leatherface, went up to producer Michael Bay at a Christmas party and personally asked him for the role. I mean, that was a smart move. He got it. So yeah. During the scene in the van with Arlie Ermy, the sheriff, and Jonathan Tucker, Tucker forced the gun down his throat in order to make himself vomit every take. Oh yeah, I read about this. If you watch carefully, you can see him spit the vomit out of his mouth in that scene. Yeah, I thought about that every time I watched the film, that scene. I was like, damn, that's real vomit. It looks like real vomit. And then I read this and I was like, wow. I mean, that is some dedication. I mean, it's, yeah, can't be comfortable. Johnny K. Yeah, this was the remake that started the whole onslaught of remaking old horror movies for a modern audience. Corey, I definitely agree, Sarah, on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 awesome movie. Yeah, glad that you agree. Erica Larison screamed so loudly during her screen test that people in other parts of the building called the police to report that a woman was being attacked. I mean, proved she had really awesome screams. On his final day of shooting, Eric Balfour, played Jessica Biel's boyfriend, stripped down, threw his wardrobe back to the crew, and walked off the set wearing a baseball cap. Oh, okay. And to prepare for his role as Leatherface, Andrew Bruniarski ate a diet of brisket and white bread in order to get his weight to nearly 300 pounds. Wow. I have never eaten brisket, so don't know if it's good or not. But if I only ate brisket and white bread, wow. Okay. Johnny K. Similar to the remake of The Hills of Ice, it stands up on its own merits. Yeah, I agree. That's also a really good remake. In the original script, the character Jediah was going to wear a Felix the Cat t-shirt throughout the movie. This was later scrapped because the copyright holders of Felix the Cat wouldn't allow it. However, the novelization of the movie features the character wearing the shirts. Also, Jediah was going to be killed by Leatherface by slicing his chainsaw through his back because he let Aaron and Morgan go. This was later scrapped because the filmmaker thought it was too intense. Interesting. I mean, I can understand their point of view, but I mean, they could also have done it in a shot it in such a way that it would have worked even without feeling like it's too intense for audiences. But I can understand, yeah, their point of view basically. While chasing Aaron through the woods, Leatherface trips and cuts into his right leg with a chainsaw, an homage to original. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Lauren German, who plays the hitchhiker, which I talked about, originally auditioned for the role of Erin. Okay, so she auditioned for the same role as Jessica Biel, but at least she got to be in the movie. Dolph Lundgren, was first considered to play Leatherface, but he turned them down so he could spend more time with his family. Wow. Dennis, oh my god, Sarah is back. Yeah, I'm back. Dennis watched Das Privileg 2022. Yes, I saw it. Didn't really like it, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Had a lot of things to do last week with work and other things. But yeah, this week I'm back. It feels good. Not talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, just talk about some trivia. The character Kemper shares a name with American serial killer Edmund Kemper, who murdered 10 people between 1964 and 1973. Yeah, that was one thing that I was thinking about while watching it. I'm like, Kemper, wait, isn't that... Yeah, that's the same name as Edmund Kemper. Okay. Kemper's death was originally slightly more graphic. After Leatherface hit him in the back of the sledgehammer, he was to the floor gasping and convulsing with blood pouring out of his head. Pepper's death was also more graphic. Originally, Leatherface swipes the chainsaw down on her, cutting into her stomach. In a final cut of the film, the impact is off screen. You only see Leatherface swipe the chainsaw down and you hear it cutting into her, with feathers from her jacket floating in the air. Yeah, I also reacted to those deaths, even if Kemper's, you can at least, is a bit more brutal with the swinging of the sledgehammer and you see some blood drops. But Pepper's death, I felt that could have been more graphic, and it should have been more graphic. But reading this, that they were intended to be more graphic, at least that, that gives me some satisfaction. Yeah. Okay. In a deleted epilogue scene, Erin is being interviewed from a mental institution where she has been living for the several decades after the events of this film. This subplot harkens back to two persistent rumors about the original film. In one rumor, the supposed true-life survivor of the original actual event spent her subsequent years in a mental facility. The second rumor alleges that filming was so arduous that the actress Marilyn Burns, who played the original survivor, went insane and was committed after shooting. Okay, but I had no idea about those rumors. Then it's work hard. Yes. Playtime guy. Hey Sarah, hope you're doing well. Oh hey, thank you for joining. Yes, I'm doing well. Okay, let's move on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. So now we got the prequel. It's from 2006. Before being sent to serve in Vietnam, two brothers and their girlfriends take one last road trip, but when they get into an accident, A terrifying experience will take them to a secluded house of horrors with a chainsaw wielding killer. Oh no! Yeah. I think this one is probably one of the meanest ones in the series. It has this kind of raw feeling that the first one, original, had, but that not the sequels and the remake didn't really have this type of rawness that the first one had. But this one I think comes really close to that kind of atmosphere. And that is why it feels like the meanest one to me. But I think this one was pretty good. It wasn't as good as Remake or as the first or second one, but it was pretty good in my opinion. So let's see some trivia. During filming, Arlie Ermy, who plays the sheriff, was called away to his mother's deathbed. Oh no. For the remainder of the time, filming was done around his character. Oh, okay. Yeah, in this one we also get to see how he became the sheriff. And I was like, wow, he is so mean and nasty. Okay. When Eric gets his face wrapped in cellophane by Sheriff Hoyt, that's actually real. Matt Boomer's head was actually being wrapped in saran wrap. Arlie Ermy said he was very concerned for him. They left a small gap opening at the bottom of Matt's chin for him to breathe, but that didn't help much. So whenever he was having trouble breathing, he would indicate by knocking his knees together. Oh yeah, it was when he was hanging there, so he couldn't do anything with his hands. Okay, wow, that must have been, I mean, kind of terrifying as an actor. Like, oh shit, I can't breathe. Hope they see the signal and, you know, yeah, help me in time. Okay, according to producer Brad Fuller, the film was given an NC-17 by the MPAA, and a total of 17 scenes had to be edited in order to get an R rating. Jordana Brewster, she plays the main character, initially got made fun of for the way she ran during filming scenes in which her character Chrissy had to run. Jordana said she's used to running on a treadmill in form. Producer Andrew Form and Jordana's future husband told her that she looked like she was running in the Chariots of Fire. They told her to run messy with her arms in the air and not go in a straight line. Jordana said she ended up running faster than the camera operators could go and was like, well, how's that? With a laugh. Okay. Wow. I had no idea that she was being made fun of because of the way she ran. New Line had to pay $3 million more than it expected to in order to keep the series in the studio fold after Dimension Films made a pricey deal with original rights holders Tobe Hooper, Kim Hinkle, and Robert Kuhn. Okay, wow, $3 million more. That's a lot of money. Jordana Brewster and producer Andrew Form met on this film. They began dating and then became engaged in 2006, married in 2007, and had their first child, a son named Julian, in 2013. You see, Leatherface brings people together. When we see Eric's dog tags, they have a rubber casing around them. This form of tag wasn't introduced into GI uniform until the 90s, although it could be black tape as military service members during World War II began to use tape or black silicone to silence the clinking sound the tags made as they walked with them hung around their necks. Oh, okay. Diora Baird, who portrays Leatherface victim Bailey, would later go on to star in the 2009 spoof Stan Helsing, where her character, among others, must evade a collective of killers based off horror icons. One a blower wielding skin masked psychopath titled Leatherface, a parody of Leatherface. Well, I remember that film, but I don't think it was that good of a parody, if I have to be honest. Yeah. The character of Dean has a blood stain on his cheek that matches the blood stain on the van from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. Deora Baird said in an interview she wouldn't make any more horror films after this one. I can't imagine topping this, really. I can't imagine doing like Little House on the Prairie Gone Wrong or something. I really think this will be it. But she then went on to appear in 3 more. Brain Blockers, Stan Helsing, and 30 Days of Night, Dark Days. Okay. Okay, so Deora Baird's character Bailey's throat slitting scene was done 9 times. So they slit her throat 9 different times, like had to take retakes 9 times with slight variations each time. Had no idea, but I mean that must have taken quite a while because I know I've done a throat slashing in my movie, Create Your Killer, and that just the ones. I mean, building the thing once took a lot of time. So 9 times, wow. Okay. Okay, let's move on to Texas Chainsaw 3D. So I have to admit that I have a soft spot for this one, for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. I know a lot of people hate it, but I really, really like this one. Yeah. Okay, so a young woman travels to Texas to collect an inheritance. Little does she know that an encounter with a chainsaw-wielding killer is part of the reward. Yeah. I mean, we should always expect a chainsaw-wielding killer as a reward wherever we go. And you know, Alexandra Daddario, I think she does a really good job in this one. Yeah. So, some trivia for this one. Okay. Originally, a plan for a new trilogy was pitched. The films would be released out of chronological order, with the second film coming out first and being set almost entirely in a hospital. The next film would be a prequel, explaining the events that led up to the hospital scenario. The third film would complete the storyline. Fearing it was too ambitious and risky, the producers opted for a follow-up to the original instead. I mean, that sounds pretty good as well, but, you know, I can't understand the risks and stuff. Topper Southgate. Hiya Sarah, I got one for you. 7, starring William Smith. Not gore or horror, but action and chaos. Check it out. Peace. Oh, thank you. I will. I'm adding it to my list. Then it's Sarah Watched Dolls, 1986. Yes, I have, and I like it. Bobby Kolakowski. Hi Sarah, I know it's been a while. I've just been going through a tough time. Keep up the amazing videos. I love you guys. Thank you for everything. I will be back when I get my life back on track. Well, I'm really sad to hear that you're going through a tough time, but hopefully you will feel better soon. And thank you for taking the time to, you know, pop in and just say hi to everyone. We all really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to, you know, having you back here again. So have a really good, or as good as you can, evening. Yeah. In the opening scene, Bill Moseley, who portrayed Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, portrays Drayton Sawyer, the cook from the first two films. Yeah, I saw that as well. I was like, that's Bill Moseley in this one. And I liked the fact that they did that beginning with the portraying the family in a younger way. So, and also, this is Gunnar Hanson's final film. He portrayed Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But he was also in the beginning with the family there. So, and this is a direct sequel to the first one, so it ignores the sequels and does not include the remakes. Golden Child, hi Sarah, what do you think about High West X? Actually, I haven't seen it yet, but I won 2 tickets and I will watch it this weekend. So I'm going this weekend, And I will let you know, of course, my thoughts about the movie after I have seen it. But because it doesn't come out in the cinema here in Sweden until this weekend, so super happy. I was offered to watch it at a preview of it at a pre-premiere, but unfortunately just couldn't make it that day. But this weekend I'm watching it, so I'm super excited and super happy. Gunnar Hanson, who portrayed Leatherface in the 1974 film, portrays a relative, Boss Sawyer, in the beginning of the film. This marks the first time Hanson has returned to the series since the initial film. In interviews, Hanson has said that he has been approached before, but was never offered a salary that would entice him to return. So that, I think that means that he got the salary that he wanted. Yeah. Sheriff Hooper is named after Tobe Hooper, of course. Marilyn Burns, who played Sally Hardesty in the original film, plays Vernon in this film, and Butcher Boys from 2012 were Marilyn's first movie roles in 28 years, excluding an uncredited cameo in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Wow. Didn't realize it had gone so long without her acting in something else. This film features 4 actors returning from previous installments, surpassing the record of 3, set by Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Both Alexandra Daddario and Trey Songz admitted to not having seen the original film prior to the production of this film. What? The only films in the series Songz had seen before were the remake and its prequel, The Beginning. It was 106 degrees in Shreveport on that day that the fire stunts were performed inside the burning Sawyer house at the beginning of the film. Woof! You can already feel the heat. Dan Yeager is of this film the tallest Leatherface at 6.6. Yeah. 6 feet 6 inches. Wow. In one scene, when Heather is exploring throughout the house, she looks through a closet that has Marilyn Burns, Sally Hardesty, and Wright costume from the original film. Why? I didn't even think about that. I don't think I noticed it. Or maybe I did, but I just didn't think anything of it. Okay, I will definitely think about that when I rewatch this movie. Yeah. Okay, I think we have to move on to Leatherface. Yeah. Okay. So Leatherface from 2017. So in this one, a teenage Leatherface escapes from a mental hospital with 3 other inmates, kidnapping a young nurse and taking her on a road trip from hell, while being pursued by a lone man out for revenge. As I said in my review, I just didn't feel like the first 2 acts didn't really feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But the 3rd act that was quite good. And I feel like characters kind of made more sense in the 3rd act, and the gore was, a lot better in the 3rd act. So some trivia and also comments. Then Sarah loves German movies. Well, Germany has a lot of great movies, especially horror movies, like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Nosferatu. You know, we have the German Expressionism from the 1920s. Yeah, Germany has a lot of great movies. Okay, the Sawyer house, seen in the 1974 original film, was rebuilt for the filming of Leatherface. Okay. This is Tobe Hooper's final film as a producer before his death. From natural causes on August 26th, 2017. Oh. Oh, I actually didn't know this, but the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre film not to be filmed in the United States. Instead, the film was shot in Bulgaria for budgetary reasons. But, you know, makes sense. It's cheaper to film there. Angela Bettis was originally signed on to the film before dropping out due to scheduling conflicts. She was replaced by Lily Taylor. I didn't know that either. I mean, it would have been amazing to see Angela Bettis in this part, in this role. Oh, I would have loved that. I just wanted to see like what she would have done with the part. I mean, Lily Taylor was really good as well. She's always good. But, I mean, just picturing Angela Bettis in this part, would have loved to watch it. After reshoots had been completed, the film premiered on DirecTV before having its limited theatrical run. Oh, okay. Stephen Dorff plays Sheriff Hal Hartman in this film, who is the father of Bert Hartman from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. Ooh, the world premiere was on August 25th, 2017 at Fright Fest in London. Oh, that's nice, Fright Fest. That's a really good horror festival. Yeah, I was in Fright Fest in Glasgow a few years ago. Yeah, it's been too long. By the time Lionsgate finally released this film, the studio had already lost the rights to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film series due to having taken way too long to both greenlight a new installment and get it released to the public. Okay. Texas Chainsaw 3D actually finished production in 2011, but the film sat unreleased for 2 years. Lionsgate initially had the rights to make up to 6 Texas Chainsaw Massacre films in the contract. This was their second and last film. Wow. Lily Taylor in this film plays Verna Carson, a character first seen in Texas Chainsaw 3D. In that film, she was played by Marilyn Burns in a small role as the elderly Verna, who played the final girl, Sally Hardstein. Verna's presence in this film was to maintain continuity with these films. Okay. This is interesting. Throughout the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, Leatherface kills 76 people with a chainsaw. So that is just with a chainsaw. I mean, he kills people in other ways as well. But okay. The film was written in a way in which the audience would have to guess which of the characters in the film would actually become Leatherface in the future, since the mental hospital gives new names to their patients to distance them from their families. To add the mystery of who will become Leatherface, despite this, the poster on the front and back of the DVD and Blu-ray cover completely give away the twist. Yeah. And I will not read the trivia for the latest one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022, because not everyone has seen it yet, so I don't want to spoil anything. But I can say that I liked the new one. It has some flaws. I think the biggest flaw was the whole Sally story thing. That was kind of badly executed. It felt like they wasted her character a bit. Could have been done in a much better way. But I like the gore, I like the creativity, I like the cinematography, I like the Leatherface poop shot. And yeah, there was a lot of fun and enjoyable things things about the new one because I went in with really low expectations. So I think that helped. That definitely helps. Yeah. But yeah, okay, wow. I've just been talking and talking and talking, and I will go to bed soon. So I'll be here for like one more minute or two, and we'll ask comments, questions, or comments about Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Then feel free. I will drink some water in the meantime. Sarah, you like criminal drama? Yeah, I do. I like Criminal Minds, CSI, all those shows. Ben, I watched a real strange German flick called The Berlin Bride. Pretty wild in a good way. Ooh, I will check that out. Thank you so much for the tip. Johnny K, I'm actually from Glasgow. That's cool that you were here for Fright Fest. Ooh, oh. Yeah, I think I was there in, was it 2016 or something like that? Yeah, so it's been a while because we first went to London for Women in Horror thing, and then we went to Glasgow. And a year prior, we were in Germany for a weekend of horrors. So yeah, that was very fun. I had such a great time. So yeah, hoping to be able to visit more horror conventions and film festivals and stuff like that. Then it's criminal drama like Death Wish. Yeah, Death Wish is good. I like the first Death Wish. Yeah. Ben, I also like the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know why people hate it so much. I think it explains more than what people say. Yeah, I agree. I think I will watch it this year. Yeah, the new one. Because, yeah, I just need to watch those creative and unique kill scenes again. They were really good. But I think I will say goodnight now. I need to sleep. And, yeah. I feel that I've said everything I want to say. But thank you all so much for stopping by. Next Monday, we'll talk about anything horror. I will let you know what I've been watching and stuff like that. And hopefully you will join me. And the theme for this month is horror movie sequels. So the first one dropped yesterday. I reviewed The Descent 2. And another one will drop tomorrow or Wednesday. So hope you're ready for those. Just answer one last question. Dennis, wait, you like Death Wish? Yeah, I do. The remake, it was fun stuff, but the original, yeah. Johnny K, good night. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for joining. Bye. Okay, just have to reach the button. Short arms. Okay.